Thank you, and please give a warm welcome to Senator Cardin and Delegate Hickson.
Alex, thank you for that very generous introduction. And it's nice to be with a president that I really, nice to be with you.
Thank you.
Not all presidents I agree with, but I got a feeling that I agree more with your positions than the President of the United States. But Alex, it's good to be here. I told Alex that I'm a proud product of the Baltimore City public school system, so I'm a strong believer in education. I was active in the student government when I was in high school, and it led to a career in elected office, including being a United States Senator. So you're looking at a potential future United States Senator. So we wish you only the best. It's great to be here. I want to thank Marley Pasternak, who is a parent, a former student here at Montgomery Blair. It's good to be here. Marley brags about this school all the time, so I'm glad I had a chance to come by. I thank Principal Johnson for allowing me to come by to say hello. It's good to be here with Sheila Hickson. Sheila and I have known each other for a long time. She has been an incredible leader in the Maryland General Assembly on the committee that is my love, and that is the Ways and Means Committee. Since one time, way back when, I chaired the Ways and Means Committee, and of course, Sheila did an incredible job as chair of the Ways and Means Committee. So it's good to be here with your delegate in the Maryland General Assembly, who has been a fierce advocate for Montgomery County. So it's really good to be here. It's been a tough week. Every day is a tough week. I wake up every morning to see what the president has tweeted for the day, to see what I need to do. I was extremely disappointed by several things, and I want to talk about them. I want to get your views. It's always good to be in a class that's interested in getting involved in what's going on in our country. This is your future. We need your voice. And the interesting thing about Mr. Trump as president, I was recently at a group of faith leaders, and we were talking about the aftermath of Charlottesville, which we'll have a little bit of conversation today about. And this minister stood up and said, I met with the leaders of my congregation, and we had a board, and we were listing the accomplishments of the Trump administration. And as you can imagine, this was a somewhat partisan group, so it was a little bit difficult to find positive things to say. But top on their list was the fact that Mr. Trump has gotten people involved in the political system that have never been involved before. He's energized people in this country to get engaged. There's more conversation, I'm sure, among the classmates here about national affairs than we've seen in previous years, because he has done things that has gotten you engaged. The question is, how do we do that? How do we focus that, and how do we bring about the type of policies in this country that are critically important? So I am one of your two United States Senators. Chris Van Hollen, who hails from Montgomery County, is my colleague. We are close personal friends. We share a common vision of this country. I miss Barbara Mikulski, and Chris Van Hollen took Barbara Mikulski's spot. In the Montgomery County delegation, you have a big delegation, a very effective delegation in the House of Representatives with Jamie Raskin and John Sarbanes and John Delaney. So you have a great team that I work with, and I want to acknowledge that up front. But I said it's been a tough week. I must tell you, when President Trump decided that he would set a deadline on the repeal of the DACA program, you all familiar with the DACA program? You see most people shaking their heads as dreamers. To me, that was a tragic moment for this country. And I need to tell you why. Because, yes, you may know some dreamers. I know dreamers. We yesterday had a chance to talk with one of the dreamers who is graduating from medical school with not only a medical degree, but a PhD degree, doing incredible research in the medical community. And I've met with dreamers here in Montgomery County whose families are really concerned as to whether they're going to be pulled apart. They don't know one day whether someone's going to pick them up and literally put them in removal, and they may never see their families again. They don't know any other home but the United States. So yes, it's absolutely cruel, and horrible for 10,000 people here in Maryland, 800,000 around the nation. And that should be enough. But it's also very damaging to our economy. I got a call from one of the largest employers in Maryland, very concerned about the future of his workforce. It affects our economy. The Dreamers are people who have been here for a long time. They've been in our schools, they've been in our military, and they're prepared to do what immigrants have done since the creation of our country. Build a stronger country for us, create jobs, and help this country continue to be the great nation it is. That should be enough. But the point that I hope you all will understand that's just not forgivable for what the president has done is that he's jeopardized what this country stands for. America's strength is in its ideals. Education's the great equalizer. That's why I'm a strong supporter of public education. It gives each of you the opportunity to be able to pursue your talents to the maximum capacity in a country that rewards that gives you that opportunity. Yes, we have a strong military, and I thank the men and women who serve in our military, and I support them strongly. And America's military is part of our strength. And yes, this is a country where our economy can allow you to accomplish unbelievable success. And I support our economy. But why you want to be here is what we stand for. A country that embraces diversity, understands its strength, stands for the rule of law, for human rights for all of its citizens, against corruption. And what President Trump did in announcing there could be the end of the DACA program in 6 months is against the values for what America stands for. And that, first and foremost, we got to stand up and say no. We won't tolerate that type of position for our country. I had the opportunity to be the senior Democrat on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and I meet with people from all over the world, leaders from all over the world. Today in Myanmar, Burma, there are hundreds of thousands of people at risk of being killed because of the failure of their government to respect the rights of all of its citizens, the Rohingya population. The United States needs to stand up against those human rights violations. But what credibility do we have when we tell Dreamers they are not welcome here in the United States? It affects our ability to do what we need to do, not just here, but around the world. And I must tell you, it hit an all-time low in Charlottesville. I must tell you, I have a position globally in Europe and the United States on dealing against intolerance and discrimination. I'm a special representative of what's known as the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe's Parliamentary Assembly. I say that because we've had meetings all over the world on standing up against bigotry and hate. And at all of these meetings, we try to come with an action plan as to how do you counter hate. And in every one of those meetings, what is you find always on that list is that leaders need to stand up and make sure that there is no separation that allows hate to be acceptable. It starts with leadership. So that when we see a mosque, or we see a synagogue, or we see a church that is attacked, that could lead to hate, leaders need to stand up. Governors, presidents, county execs, they show up with the community. They may not be Muslim, but we stand with the Muslim community. They may not be Jewish, but we stand with the Jewish community. They may not be Catholics, but we stand with the Catholic community to let them know any attack is unacceptable. That's the first line of defense against hate. So I don't want to question what's in the president's heart. I don't know what's in the president's heart. But what we saw in Charlottesville, to get any comparison between those who are there on behalf of neo-Nazis or white supremacists or KKK, and to equate their activity with those that were there to protest that message, that you can't be quiet about. You've got to stand up and say, no, that's not the United States. That's not our values. And I was proud that Democrats and Republicans in the Congress of the United States joined together to say, no, Mr. President, there is no moral equivalency. We want a bright light to say we won't accept any hate in our community and those who espouse hate. We're not going to, that's not what this country is all about. So we've got to stand up and speak out to protect the strength of this country, the values of this country. And that's what we are doing. So yes, Alex, I appreciate you mentioning health care. We could talk about health care. If you can't get access to health care, you're denied a basic human right. And we got to make sure everyone in this country has access to quality, affordable health care. That's also part of the value which makes this nation the great nation it is. Or we could talk about the environment and our responsibility to make sure that we leave this planet safer than we found it, cleaner than we found it. And we are affecting the extreme weather conditions that are occurring all too frequently in our community. And we need to do something about that. That's also a moral challenge and a practical challenge that we have in this country. All of those are issues that are going to affect your generation, the future of this country. And I hope you will take the challenge that Mr. Trump has given you. Get involved in our community. Get involved in policies in our community. Stand up when you see injustice. You might be very comfortable in your neighborhood, but if someone else is not, join them and speak out. If someone's not safe, none of us are safe. And that, I think, is the challenge we have as a community. And I know here, I know the reputation of the school, and I know your commitment to diversity as a strength will help guide you as you develop your priorities and passions moving forward. So it's an honor to be here with Delegate Hickson. It's an honor to be here at the school. I hope we have a little bit of time, if we could, to answer your questions and to learn what you're experiencing here at Montgomery Blair. And I've got to stay neutral about the football game tonight because Wheaton's also here in Maryland. I represent the whole state. But good luck tonight on the football game.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to open the floor up to questions. Before we do, Delegate Hickson, would you like to say a few words to the audience?
Oh, sure.
And then we'll open it up for questions.
All right, thank you very much. It's really, it seems rather unfair that I have to follow Ben Cardin, but it's okay. He was my mentor in the Maryland House of Delegates, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, taught me everything I know, so that's why I'm where I am today. So we operated a team there, and we still do at the federal and state level. But now I'm on the Ways and Means Committee. I'm the former chair. I'm they call me, I don't want to say old, experienced, is that, and so they use me for all kinds of reference. They send me off to speak and tell people how great it is in Maryland. And it is. I live in the Silver Springbrook area. I know that's a bad word to say at Blair, but hey, my kids went to Springbrook. It's all right. We're still on the east side of the county. We do a better job than the rest of the county does, regardless, on athletics and in schools. So I'm very proud to represent this area of the county. But I serve in the Ways and Means Committee. We deal a lot with taxes. We're the ones that, if you get taxes, probably came through our committee otherwise, but also keep in mind, because you have this school, taxes paid for it. So we do invest it in the right things for the community and the things that happen. And in Annapolis this year, we don't see a lot of controversial issues. I think even from the federal government, I don't think there are, there's no war going on, there's no big tax fight, so you're not going to hear a lot of publicity and a lot of things going on. But we do the everyday work of government. And our biggest piece in the state of Maryland is funding our schools and our education. And we're in the top 10 in the United States. So we're very proud of having that. My children went to Springbrook, and with Blair, they're my district, but Montgomery County is rated really, really high. So we want to keep up that standard. But that standard comes from you guys, how well you do, what your grades are, how you propose yourself, how you deal with everything. You're the ones who make it real. People watch you. I get a lot of questions, particularly from people in Baltimore, of how do you guys handle this kind of thing in Montgomery County? You don't get the riots, you don't get the fights, none of you ever fought, right? I mean, I say no, they never do that there, but it's just that you are doing a great job of representing Montgomery County and representing your schools, and you should take pride in that. That is very good. It's really, and also on the side of the state of Maryland, when we come down to funding programs, we are probably unique in the sense that we will go out and look for new programs, new things that are happening nationally, and we'll use them as test cases. And a lot of those programs will come back into the public schools, and we pick and choose schools where these programs will be expedited or they'll be tested. And of course, Montgomery County is #1 in getting those kind of operations. We try it, I don't mean this in any disparaging way, we try it in Baltimore, but it's a different economic group that Baltimore represents. So we tried over here, and we're talking about it from a financial thing, both sides, from the lower income to the middle income to the high income. So all of the programs that we want to invest in the state have been tested across the state to see what benefits the children most. And then we want to go forward with those programs. But so guys, think of it this way, you're always on call. We're watching you, for me to represent this area and the school, faculty, the teachers, it's really been exciting. One thing I don't hear from you. You don't ask for anything. You don't ask me for a flag. You don't ask me for any questions. You don't want to, I'm sure in your government class there must be some questions about the state government. Do you think we are totally irrelevant? Do you think that, what difference do we make if we didn't exist? Here we're here with the federal government, and so what does Maryland have to do? Ben Cardin can take care of it all. You don't need us to do that, but I would really like to extend an invitation to you to come to Annapolis, observe the Maryland General Assembly. There are 10 states in the United States that are full-time. We're a part-time legislature. We're only there 90 days. And so every year we go down for 90 days. That's January, February, and March. But I would really like and extend invitation to you all to come and visit. Come on out and see what we do. We do debate all the bills on the floor. You'll see us individually in committees, and come to our offices for personal information. And anything you need, please contact my office in Annapolis, Maryland. And I'm really honored to be able to represent you all. Thank you very much.
All right, Blazers, we have about 15 minutes for questions. So raise your hand and please speak loudly so we can hear you. Wait time, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I saw here first.
I've heard that they're closing down Pinecrest Park across the Woodmore, across the Woodmore, and apparently we got a letter from the president, and we're not sure what's going on. It's probably going to be closed for about a year, and a lot of my friends and I have heard about it.
Could you stand up so we can hear you? Thank you.
Pinecrest Park is being closed down for about a year, apparently. It was supposed to start as soon as summer ended, but it's been delayed apparently because it hasn't been started yet. A lot of my friends and I who live in the neighborhood are very upset because we just can't. We've basically played there since we were little, and it's always been like that place we could go. And now we have to either walk across University Boulevard or Colesville to get to another park. Is there anything we should do to try to protest it? Or anything you would recommend?
Yeah, my guess is that's being handled by the council,
Yes.
by the county government. And the answer is, yeah, absolutely. You need to engage the county officials, the county councilmen, and the county exec individuals that you may have. There's 3 levels of government, and there could be 4 with municipalities. You have the federal government, which we do not get involved in local decisions such as the ones you were referring to. You have the state that provides a lot of the resources, but rarely gets involved in those types of local decisions. This is left for the local governments, the counties and municipalities. So I don't have information that would be relevant, nor could I affect that type of decision.
Is there anything you would recommend to protest it?
Yes, you know who your councilman person is?
Yeah.
That's who you should be calling. That's the person I would contact.
Thank you, thank you. Right here in front.
Hi, what specific ways would you say for getting involved?
It's a great question, and it's asked frequently. How can you make a difference? One of the questions that's frequently asked to me is that, well, I would call my congressman, is Jamie Raskin, are we in Jamie's district?
Yes.
Yeah. I would call Jamie Raskin or write him a note, but he's always right on the issues. Or I would write our senators, they're okay on this, so why bother getting involved? The answer is this. This president has been extremely successful in controlling social media and changing the subjects when he wants to change the subject. So my advice to you is follow your passion. What is the issue that you want to get involved in? Is it the environment? Is it immigration? Is it healthcare? Whatever that passion is, don't let the flavor of today's news, even though it might be important news, don't make no mistake about it, don't let that get in the way of your focus to make a difference. I'll give you one example. The day after, Saturday after the inaugurations, there was an incredible march in Washington, a women's march in Washington. It was absolutely incredible. I was there with several generations of my family. I couldn't even find the Maryland delegation because you couldn't even move. It was person to person. And it was there for a message for the new administration. And President Trump was successful within hours of changing the subject, not to the meaning of the march, but the number of people that were there. And we can't control what social media is going to do. We can't control what's going to be on cable. So they're going to take the current circumstances. You got to stay focused on the area that you're concerned about. Secondly, you can do things as an individual. If it's immigration, your letters are going to make a difference. Your joining protests will make a difference. Your everything you can do. But it's also important to join like-minded people. Joining in a group makes a difference. There are local groups, state groups, national groups working on environment, immigration, healthcare, gender equalities, civil rights, you name it, their work. Join these groups and learn the strategies that they're doing so you can help join those strategies. Will it make a difference? Absolutely. If you would have asked in January of this year whether in September we would still have the Affordable Care Act on the books, you could have made a lot of money on that bet. You changed it. You were responsible. Despite what Mr. Trump thinks, the power is not with the president in this country. And despite what I might think, it's not with the Congress. And despite what Chief Justice Roberts might think, it's not with the courts. The power in this country is with we, the people. You have the power. So absolutely, how to get involved? Pick your passion, don't be disrupted, do everything you can as an individual, including writing letters and joining protests, and then join like-minded people.
Well, and I guess the only thing I would add to that is how many are you registered to vote? How many of you are 18 and can register to vote? You know, but if anything, I would highly impress upon you that fact. It makes a difference. Your vote makes a difference. I think the worst thing we have going right now, certainly in Maryland, certainly in the United States, is people aren't voting. You're letting like 25% of the people elect the president. You're letting 30% in Maryland elect congressmen. Not that they didn't elect a good one, but it's maybe we don't want. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying your involvement is very important. You know, just really you feel something. You get disgusted when you hear some things that we've done. Let us know. You know, we think it's okay. If I don't hear from you, I think, well, I guess it's acceptable. Maybe we'll go down this road, we'll touch it. If we're wrong, we'll come back and start over. But if I don't hear, I don't know. And we go out and speak to groups all over my district. Ben is all over the state, that kind of thing. What we want is feedback. We represent you, but if we don't hear from you, we think we're doing the right thing. So I know you think that politicians are thinking only of their own game plan. Simply not true. We're doing it in a bigger picture than that. But what we want to know is what you're really concerned about. I can't figure it out for you, but I sure can help you to get it done. Thanks.
Stand up. Should I stand up? Yeah.
Senator Cardin, you've spoken on the importance of DACA, not only for the many individuals in our community, but also for the economy as a whole. So my question is, well, what is your plan to help support legislation that's going to save these people? And how far are you willing to compromise as far as border security goes with the Republicans?
That's a great question. What am I going to do in regards to DACA, and am I willing to compromise in regards to border security? It's a very current discussion. What the president did was wrong. What President Obama did was right. We should not put people in fear. So I disagree with the uncertainty that the president has put into the equation. We're going to pass protection for the Dreamers, and I think we're going to get it done this year. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done because American people are behind us, and we have Republicans who are going to join us, and we're going to get it done. It is, I don't know of any higher priority than we have in our caucus, but to get the legal protection for the Dreamers. And we hope it will be better than DACA. DACA gives temporary protection. It doesn't give citizenship. We hope at the end we will work in the legislation where there'll be a pathway to citizenship for the Dreamers, so that we will be able to not just fix their temporary status, so they have to re-register all the time, but that we will fix a permanent answer. And we have good news on that. Senator Durbin and Senator Graham, a Republican and a Democrat, have joined together with a bill. I strongly support that bill. And yes, I would like to see it put on the schedule tomorrow and passed tomorrow. That's not going to happen. I think we can get it done this year. Now, the way that the legislative process works is that those who control the agenda, the Republican leadership, unlikely that they'll pass the bill by itself. They will almost for sure put something else in it. And I applaud Senator Schumer and Leader Pelosi for saying, we all for border security, that's fine. We need new technologies at our border. There's now new technologies that can deal with illegal drugs that are coming into America. It's not a wall. Wall won't do anything to help us. But there is now equipment that we can find whether fentanyl is coming into this country or not. It'd be nice to have that equipment on our border so we can do a better job of stopping illegal drugs from coming into this country. So we support stronger border security from the point of view of better technology. What we don't want is any money going for a wall. Illegal trafficking of humans or drugs are not coming in because we don't have a wall. So what we want to do would be a waste of money, but it's also counterproductive. I also went to Mexico City to meet with our counterparts from Mexico. If you're going to be effective, we need a cooperation of Mexico. The wall is an iconic symbol of our mistrust for Mexico, and it causes Mexico political system to say, how can we work with a country that feels that way about us? So it's counterproductive from cooperation between Mexico and the United States. Now I want to plead another thing, if I might. We're going to get the Dreamer bill done. That's not enough. We got more people here under temporary protective status from Central America, Haiti, and Africa than we do for Dreamers. The Central American temporary protective status families, many have been here as long, if not longer, than the Dreamers. Many know no other country but the United States. They're under temporary protective status. So yes, let's make sure we get the Dreamers protected. Absolutely. But we need to do more than that. There are many millions that are in this country that deserve to know that they're not going to be picked up tomorrow and removed, that they have a pathway to citizenship. So I just urge us all not to lose interest when we're successful with the Dreamers. We're going to win with the Dreamers. I'm convinced about that. Should have won a long time ago. But there are other areas of immigration change that we're going to need your passion to get corrected, and it requires Congress to pass laws.
So my mom works in public health for the government, and we both have a question. Are you going to make sure that people can get access to health care, and what do you think about the Republicans trying to repeal it?
And what Delegate Hickson said is absolutely correct about the Maryland legislature. Most of the health care decisions that will affect the level of health care that we receive, more of those decisions are made in Annapolis than Washington. Thanks to the work of Delegate Hickson, thanks to the work of the Ways and Means Committee and the Maryland General Assembly, we, before the Affordable Care Act, had developed a mechanism to help small companies be able to afford health insurance and individuals afford health insurance. We're the only state in the country that doesn't have charity hospitals. We have an all-payer rate structure so that hospitals are fairly reimbursed regardless of what neighborhood they may happen to have their facilities. That was done by the Maryland legislature. We have investments in preventive health care done by the Maryland legislature. We have qualified health centers in which the Maryland legislature has helped. So yes, I just really want to first underscore that this is a partnership between the federal and state government. What the federal government needs to do is guarantee that health care is a right, not a privilege. The Affordable Care Act moved us in that direction. I'm a strong supporter of the Affordable Care Act. It has removed a lot of the abusive practices of insurance companies, including pre-existing conditions. Literally being a woman was a pre-existing condition before the Affordable Care Act. We have changed that. We discriminated on mental health and addiction. We haven't completely removed that, but we removed a good part of that. We have helped small companies have affordable health care nationwide. We have provided essential health benefits, which included maternal care, which was not previous to this. I could go on and on. We've eliminated caps on policies. There's a lot that's been done. As a result, tens of millions of Americans now have coverage that didn't have it before, and now have access that they didn't have before. Our clinics now have dental care. They have mental health services. Why? Because they're covered services. They weren't covered services before. So we've made a lot of progress. We need to build on that. We're not out of the woods yet. There's still an effort to repeal and replace. I think there is a stronger effort, and what we're hoping to do is improve and make it a stronger program. And I'm optimistic we'll be able to get that done.